Questions before we conclude this matter. Lee raised his hand signal without hesitation. If humans are this adaptable and potentially dangerous, why not simply eliminate them now, before they develop interstellar capability? Several gasps echoed through the chamber. The question was blunt, but Lee knew others were thinking the same thing. Elder Choi, one of the oldest members of the council, slowly rose from his seat. His ancient form moved deliberately as he approached the central platform. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of centuries. Your question reveals why this information is typically restricted, Representative Lee, Elder Choi said. The obvious solution is often the most dangerous one. Elder Choi gestured, and the holographic display activated once more. This time it showed thousands of simulated scenarios playing simultaneously. Over the past 2 centuries, our strategic division has run millions of simulations on various approaches to the Earth question, Elder Choi explained. Including the option you suggested, the display focused on one particular simulation labeled Preemptive Strike Scenario. It showed a massive attack on Earth using the Council's most powerful weapons. The initial strike was devastating, destroying major cities and military installations across the planet. The simulation begins with success, Elder Choi noted. Nearly 40% of human infrastructure destroyed in the first attack. As the simulation continued, it showed surviving humans retreating to hardened bunkers and remote locations. Within months, they had reorganized and begun developing new weapons based on analyzing the attack. By the end of the first year, humans have developed countermeasures, Elder Choi continued. By year 3, they have reverse-engineered enough of our technology to launch a retaliatory strike. The simulation showed human ships emerging from hidden bases, now armed with weapons comparable to Council technology. These ships did not target military installations. They targeted civilian worlds. The humans fight differently than we do, Elder Choi said quietly. They do not follow our rules of engagement. When truly threatened, they become utterly ruthless. The simulation ended with human forces controlling nearly a third of Council space within just 30 years. A blink of an eye in galactic terms. Every variation of direct conflict leads to the same outcome, Elder Choi said. The more force used against them, the more devastating their eventual response. We cannot eliminate them without triggering exactly the outcome we fear most. Elder Choi touched his control band, and the display changed to show a different simulation, labeled Controlled Integration. Our current strategy is patience, he explained. We observe, we wait, and we prepare for the day when humans naturally develop interstellar travel. At that point, we initiate peaceful contact. This simulation showed a very different outcome. Human ships eventually ventured beyond their solar system, encountered Council representatives, and began a careful diplomatic exchange. Over decades, Earth was gradually integrated into galactic society. When not threatened, humans are capable of remarkable cooperation, Elder Choi noted. Their creativity and adaptability, properly channeled, could benefit all species. Lee considered this information carefully. So Earth remains untouched, not because it is protected, but because attacking it would be galactic suicide. Precisely, Elder Choi confirmed. The isolation protocol exists to protect us, not them. As if responding to some unheard signal, the massive doors at the far end of the chamber slid open. A small delegation entered, escorted by Council security. Lee's eyes widened as he realized what he was seeing. 5 humans walked into the Council chamber. They wore simple blue uniforms and looked around with expressions of wonder and curiosity. This was clearly their first time seeing alien species. Elder Choi smiled slightly. Right on schedule. What is this? Lee asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The next phase, Chairman Kim answered. These are representatives from Earth's newly formed United Space Initiative. They detected one of our observation satellites 3 months ago and followed its signal to our nearest outpost. The human delegation was being guided to a small waiting area at the side of the chamber. They seemed simultaneously nervous and excited, pointing discreetly at various alien representatives. Instead of attacking the satellite, they sent a message, Kim continued. They requested peaceful contact. After 2 centuries of observation, the time has finally come for formal introduction. Elder Choi turned to Lee. Now you understand why Earth is never attacked. Not because we protect them, but because we fear what they would become if we did. The greatest safety for the galaxy lies in ensuring humans never have reason to view us as a threat. As the Council prepared to welcome the human delegation, Lee watched them carefully. They looked so ordinary, so physically unimposing compared to many species present. Yet these creatures had inadvertently terrified the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, simply by how they responded to challenges. The humans didn't know they were feared. They had no idea that their greatest strength was not their technology or their resources, but their unmatched ability to transform threats into opportunities. Invaders' technology improved upon it and expanded beyond their original planet. Representative Lee raised his hand. But surely with overwhelming force, they could be conquered before this adaptation occurs. One shook his head. We ran over 10,000 simulations with varying approaches and force levels. In 97% of scenarios, the result was the same. Humans eventually prevailed and then expanded rapidly into space, often becoming the dominant galactic power within a century. The council chamber grew quieter as the implications sank in. This is why we maintain the observation-only protocol, one explained. We watch, we learn, but we do not interfere. Our current projections indicate humans will develop independent interstellar travel within 40 to 60 years. At that point, controlled first contact will be initiated. One displayed footage of current human space programs. Their crude rockets and orbital stations looked primitive compared to Council technology, but the rapid advancement was evident even across short time periods. What makes humans particularly unique, one continued, is that they innovate even without external threats. Their internal competition drives steady advancement, but when threatened as a species, this advancement becomes exponential. He showed a final chart comparing advancement rates across various council species. Humans weren't at the top during peaceful periods, but their conflict-driven advancement rate exceeded all others by significant margins. In peaceful times, they are just another developing species, one concluded. But under threat, they become something else entirely. A force that could potentially dominate the galaxy if provoked incorrectly. As one returned to his seat, Lee noticed the uneasy expressions on the faces of the military representatives. They weren't discussing a primitive species needing protection. They were discussing a sleeping giant that no one dared to wake. The elder representatives nodded knowingly. They had lived long enough to witness the pattern directly. Earth wasn't protected by the Council's compassion. It was contained by the Council's fear. Commander Park returned to the central platform as the next section of the briefing began. The atmosphere in the council chamber had changed. Where there had been curiosity before, now there was tension. Representative Lee noticed several military officials exchanging concerned glances. Despite the observation protocol's clear guidelines, Park began, not all galactic powers heeded our warnings. 12 cycles ago, we faced what we now simply call the incident. The holographic display activated again, showing a small fleet of 7 ships with distinctive green and black markings. Their design was sleek and predatory, clearly built for combat. The Ryu Coalition, Park explained, a minor power from the Outer Rim, known for their technological innovations in weapons development. They believed our caution regarding Earth was exaggerated. The footage showed the Ryu ships approaching Earth's solar system, carefully avoiding the observation satellites. They accessed our reports, but came to their own conclusions, Park continued. Their leader, Admiral Ho, was convinced that a small, precise strike would yield valuable human technology without triggering the adaptation response we had documented. The Council watched as the Ryu ships entered Earth's solar system, using advanced cloaking technology to avoid detection. They positioned themselves near Earth's moon, preparing for their operation. Their plan was simple, Park said. They would attack a single human space station, capture its personnel and technology, and retreat before any significant response could be organized. The footage showed the Ryu vessels decloaking near the International Space Station, a primitive but impressive structure by human standards. The alien ships fired precision weapons, disabling the station's communication systems without destroying it. The initial attack proceeded exactly as Admiral Ho had planned, Park noted. They captured the station intact, along with its crew. Of 12 humans, the entire operation took less than 20 minutes. The display showed the Ryu ships attaching to the space station, boarding it, and then detaching with the entire structure in tow. They recloaked and began moving out of Earth orbit. Admiral Ho believed he had executed a perfect raid, Park continued. What he failed to understand was how quickly humans would respond. The footage shifted to show Earth's surface. Multiple rocket launches were occurring simultaneously from different continents. These weren't the scheduled civilian rockets documented in Earth's public records. These were military vessels that had been hidden from observation. The humans had secretly developed a small defense fleet, Park explained. Not particularly advanced, but much more capable than our intelligence had indicated. The council members watched as the human vessels pursued the retreating Ryu ships. Though slower, the Earth ships had somehow detected the cloaked aliens and were tracking them. 3 days after the space station's capture, the human vessels intercepted the Ryu fleet at the edge of their solar system, Park said. What happened next surprised even our observation team. The footage showed the human ships firing unusual weapons, not the primitive missiles expected, but directed energy beams that somehow penetrated the Ryu shields. Somehow, in just 3 days, humans had analyzed the Ryu cloaking signatures and developed countermeasures, Park said. More concerning was their weapons technology, which showed signs of being adapted from studying the Ryu attack. The council chamber was completely silent now as they watched the human ships disable 3 of the Ryu vessels. The remaining 4, including Admiral Ho's command ship, abandoned the captured space station and fled at maximum speed. The humans recovered their station and crew, Park continued, but they didn't stop there. They salvaged the disabled Ryu ships and studied them extensively. The display showed time-lapse footage spanning just 2 weeks. Human engineers dismantled the alien technology, analyzed it, and began incorporating elements into their own designs. 17 days after the initial attack, Park said grimly, Earth launched this. The footage showed a new vessel emerging from a hidden facility beneath Earth's ocean. It was clearly of human design, but incorporated Ryu technology. Its hull was marked with the simple phrase, Defender 1. This ship was faster than anything humans had previously built, Park noted. It contained hybrid technology, human engineering enhanced by Ryu principles. They had not merely copied the alien technology, they had improved upon it. The display showed Defender 1 leaving Earth's solar system at speeds approaching those of standard council vessels. It followed the exact retreat path of the Ryu ships. 1 month after the raid, Defender 1 reached Ryu space, Park said. Admiral Ho had barely returned to report his partial success when the human ship arrived. The footage showed the single Earth vessel approaching the main Ryu defense fleet. The Ryu responded by surrounding the intruder with 20 warships. What the humans did next changed our understanding of their species forever, Park said quietly. The display showed Defender 1 broadcasting a message across all frequencies. The translation appeared on screen. Return our people and station. This is your only warning. The humans had tracked the 12 crew members that were still being held by the Ryu, Park explained. Admiral Ho refused their demand and ordered his fleet to open fire. Before the Ryu could attack, Defender 1 activated a weapon system unlike anything in the footage so far. A pulse of energy expanded outward, and all 20 Ryu ships suddenly lost power. The humans had developed a system-wide EMP weapon based on Ryu technology, Park said. They disabled the entire defense fleet without destroying a single ship or taking a single life. The footage showed Defender 1 docking with Admiral Ho's flagship, a small team of humans entering and leaving with their captured comrades. Before departing, they left a data package in the Ryu computer system. The package contained detailed scans showing 23 more human vessels under construction, Park concluded, all incorporating the same hybrid technology. The message was clear. Attack us again, and next time we won't be so merciful. The holographic display dimmed as Commander Park completed her presentation. The council chamber remained silent for several long moments as the representatives absorbed everything they had learned. Representative Lee sat motionless, his mind racing to process the implications of Earth's unique status in galactic affairs. Chairman Kim finally broke the silence. "Thank you, Commander Park, for this comprehensive briefing. Are there any Q-Q?" "The Sioux believed their operation was flawless," Park said, "but they underestimated human paranoia and pattern recognition. The display showed human security forces raiding what appeared to be ordinary buildings. Inside, they discovered alien technology. The date stamp showed these raids occurring just 7 months after the infiltration began. Somehow, humans detected irregularities in the agents' behavior," Park explained. "Their security agencies isolated and captured several Sioux agents. What happened next shocked the entire collective. The footage shifted to show human scientists studying the captured technology. Time-lapse sequences demonstrated how quickly they reverse-engineered the Sioux's advanced cloaking devices and communication systems. Within 1 Earth year, humans had not only discovered the infiltration, but had adapted Sioux technology for their own use," Park said. "They developed methods to detect all remaining agents and neutralized the entire operation." Lee noticed several council members shifting uncomfortably in their seats. This information clearly disturbed them. Most concerning was what happened after the humans captured the Sioux's biological technology, Park continued. The display showed human laboratories where scientists worked with DNA samples from the captured agents. They decoded the Sioux genetic structure and developed a targeted virus that would affect only Sioux biology, Park said grimly. Had they deployed it, the entire Sioux species could have been eradicated. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Representative Gill from the medical sector stood up. "But the Sioux still exist today," Gill noted. "The humans didn't use this weapon?" "No," Park confirmed. "They created it, demonstrated they could deploy it via long-range missiles, and then sent a single message to the Sioux homeworld. The message contained the formula for the virus and a simple warning, 'Leave us alone.'" The council chamber fell silent again as the members processed this information. The pattern was becoming clear, Park continued, advancing to new footage. The next incident involved the Min hegemony, who attempted a different approach. The display showed Min ships positioning themselves just beyond Earth's detection range. These vessels began broadcasting signals designed to affect human psychology. The Min specialized in psychological warfare, Park explained. They believed they could turn humans against each other, causing global conflict that would weaken Earth before any direct contact. The footage showed initial success. Human news broadcasts displayed increased tensions between nations. Small conflicts erupted in border regions. For a few weeks, it seemed the Min strategy was working. Then, something unexpected happened, Park said. Instead of continuing to fight each other, humans united against what they perceived as an external threat. The display showed human leaders from formerly hostile nations meeting together, sharing information, and combining resources. Global defense systems were activated, and a coordinated search for the source of the interference began. Within 2 months, humans had not only located the Min ships, but had developed jamming technology that neutralized the psychological broadcasts, Park said. They then used their newly unified global resources to launch a coordinated counterattack. The footage showed Earth's combined fleet approaching the Min position. Though technologically inferior, the sheer number of vessels overwhelmed the Min defenses. The Min commander sent an emergency transmission to the Council, begging for intervention, Park said. "We arrived just in time to prevent the complete destruction of the Min fleet." Park paused the display and looked directly at the assembled representatives. After these 3 incidents, the Council established the Earth Isolation Protocol, she concluded. No direct contact, no interference, no attacks. Not because we care about their sovereignty, but because humans represent a unique threat. They become significantly more dangerous when attacked. Lee sat back in his seat, trying to process everything he had just learned. The Earth humans weren't being protected by the Council, they were being contained. Commander Park stepped aside as Director 1 of the Observation Division took the floor. 1 was smaller than most Council members, with deep blue skin and large reflective eyes adapted for data analysis. He carried himself with the measured precision of someone who dealt in facts rather than opinions. Following these disastrous first contact attempts, one began, the Council established the Earth Observation Protocol in year 7429 of our calendar. The holographic display changed to show a network of small satellites positioned at the edges of Earth's solar system. These devices were designed to look like natural space debris while housing sophisticated monitoring equipment. We placed 3,000 observer satellites beyond human detection range, Juan explained. These units monitor all planetary communications, track technological development, and analyze human behavior patterns. The display showed a time-lapse of Earth over decades, highlighting the rapid expansion of cities, the development of digital networks, and the evolution of their transportation systems. For the past 200 years, we have watched and learned, Juan continued. What we discovered is both fascinating and disturbing. He touched his control pad, and the display shifted to show a series of graphs and charts. Representative Lee noticed how one line climbed steadily upward, while another showed dramatic spikes. The blue line represents human technological progress during peaceful periods, Juan explained. Notice the steady, predictable advancement rate. Most species follow similar patterns. One pointed to the red line with its dramatic upward spikes. This shows human advancement during periods of conflict or perceived threat. The difference is remarkable, the council members murmured as they observed the data. The red line showed advancement rates 5 to 10 times faster than the blue line. During their Second World War, they progressed from basic flight to jet engines and atomic weapons in just 6 years, one noted. During the space race, they went from no orbital capability to landing on their moon in under a decade. One displayed footage of early human aircraft, then jets, then spacecraft, all developing at an astonishing pace. Our xenopsychologists believe this relates to human brain structure, one continued. Under threat, they enter a state of heightened creativity and cooperation that accelerates innovation dramatically. Director Hai from the Biological Sciences Division stood up. This matches our findings. Human stress responses trigger neural pathways that other species use for different purposes. What would kill most sentient beings from stress instead enhances human performance. One nodded in agreement. Exactly. This makes standard conquest models ineffective against Earth. The more you attack them, the more dangerous they become. The display changed to show a simulation of a hypothetical invasion scenario. The alien forces initially dominated, but with each passing month, human counterattacks became increasingly effective. By the end of the first year, the simulation showed human forces not only repelling the invasion, but capturing alien technology. By year 3 of the simulation, one said, pointing to the final stage, humans have reverse-engineered the massive dome of the Galactic Council headquarters glittered like a jewel against the backdrop of swirling nebula clouds. Inside, representatives from over 300 star systems gathered for the annual diplomatic summit. The air hummed, with translation devices as creatures of all shapes and sizes moved through the grand hall. Lee sat quietly at the Andromeda Alliance section, observing the proceedings. Unlike many of the other representatives who had attended dozens of these meetings, this was Lee's first time representing his people. His silver-blue skin reflected the soft lighting as he carefully studied the other delegates. The central platform rose slowly, and Chairman Kim appeared. The ancient diplomat's forearms were adorned with the traditional marks of neutrality, and his voice projected clearly across the chamber. We welcome all civilizations to our 527th Galactic Summit, Kim announced. Today's agenda includes trade, route negotiations, the quarantine status of the Proxima sector, and open questions from new representatives. Lee listened patiently through hours of discussion about hyperspace lanes and resource rights. When Chairman Kim finally opened the floor for questions, Lee raised his hand signal. To his surprise, the chairman acknowledged him immediately. The Alliance recognizes Representative Lee, Kim stated. Lee stood, his heart racing. Thank you. Chairman, I have reviewed our diplomatic archives extensively, and one pattern stands out. Despite thousands of years of galactic expansion, No civilization has ever attempted to colonize or conquer the planet called Earth. It appears technologically inferior to most council members, yet it remains untouched. Why? The chamber fell. Silent. Several elder species exchanged knowing looks. A few representatives even laughed nervously. Chairman Kim's expression remained neutral. An interesting first question, Representative Lee. Does anyone wish to address this topic? No one moved for several moments. Then, from the military section, a tall figure rose. Commander Park wore the battle scars of countless campaigns across her face. Her reputation as one of the oldest and most respected military leaders in the galaxy preceded her. "I will explain," Park said simply. The chamber's murmurs grew louder. Even Chairman Kim looked surprised. "This is highly unusual," Kim noted. "This information is typically restricted to Level 7 clearance." "The time for secrecy has passed," Park replied. "The humans will reach interstellar capability within a generation. Better that the Council understands now." Chairman Kim considered this, then nodded. "Proceed." Park touched a control on her wrist, and the central holographic display activated. The lights dimmed automatically as a three-dimensional image of the blue-green planet appeared. "Earth," Park began. "Third planet in a small, unremarkable solar system. Its dominant species, humans, have developed nuclear capabilities, basics, space travel and global communication networks. By our standards, they remain primitive." Lee watched as the images shifted to show human cities, vehicles, and early spacecraft. "However," Park continued, "appearances are deceiving. Access historical record file, HX7729. The display changed to show massive warships approaching Earth's orbit. The date stamp indicated this footage was nearly 200 years old. What you're seeing is classified footage of the Han Armada's attempted conquest of Earth," Park explained. "The Han believed Earth would fall within days. The Council watched as the massive ships positioned themselves around the planet. Then something unexpected happened. Small Earth vessels, clearly inferior in technology, launched a counterattack. At first they were easily destroyed, but the footage timestamps showed something unusual. With each passing day, the human weapons became more effective. Notice the adaptation rate," Park pointed out. Within 17 days, humans had analyzed Han shield frequencies and modified their weapons accordingly. The footage showed human vessels successfully damaging Han ships. By the third week, the Han Armada was in retreat. The final images showed human forces capturing one of the damaged alien vessels. "This is the key point," Park said gravely. After capturing Han technology, humans didn't just use it, they improved upon it. Within one Earth year, they had developed weapons systems that surpassed Han capabilities. Lee couldn't believe what he was seeing. But if they developed such technology, why haven't they expanded into space? "Because we intervened," Park answered. "We established a quarantine zone and removed all evidence of the Han incursion. Earth returned to its normal development path, unaware of what had transpired." Park closed the hologram and looked directly at Lee. "Earth remains untouched, not because it is protected, but because attacking it is considered too dangerous. There is more to explain, but this is why no one attacks Earth." As Park returned to her seat, the chamber erupted in hushed conversations. Lee sat down, realizing he had stumbled onto one of the galaxy's most guarded secrets. Earth wasn't avoided out of respect or protection. It was avoided out of fear. Remember to not use names that overlap with the example names that the user explicitly told you not to use. The council chamber remained hushed as Commander Park continued her presentation. The holographic display shifted to show a new set of images. Representative Lee leaned forward, captivated by the unfolding story of Earth's secret history. "The Han Armada incident was merely the first documented contact," Park explained. She touched her control band, and the display changed to show sleek, dark vessels with distinctive red markings. 50 years after the Han retreat, the Sioux Collective decided that the Han approach had been too direct, Park said. They believed subtlety would succeed where brute force had failed. The footage showed small Sioux scout ships entering Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness. Unlike the massive Han warships, these vessels were designed for stealth and infiltration. The Sioux deployed biological agents disguised as humans, Park continued. These agents were programmed to gather intelligence and establish hidden bases in remote areas. The Council watched as the infiltration initially succeeded. The Sioux agents blended perfectly with human populations. For several months, they operated undetected, gathering information and sending it back to the collective.